Hey, how is y'all doing? Can y'all see that steam? That premium hot beverage steam that's coming from this? Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am very excited for today's video because I am editing your photos. Should I not film this? I am editing your photos that you sent in all of my photography videos. I'm always talking about how you don't need an expensive camera to get great photos. You just need to apply these posing tips that I've given you in previous videos, and the rest is up to editing, really. I've given you a good starter for poses, but what I haven't given you is how to edit those photos. And so I kind of wanted to do that for you today, but instead of editing my photos, I want to edit your photos.
Yes.
The app that I'm using to edit my photos, which I always use, is the Adobe Lightroom app, which is free in the Apple App Store. So without further ado, let's get to editing. All right, so this first photo is of Emily. She sent this to me. I'm super excited about this photo. It's so great. I can see where the tips are applied, so thank you for that. She's definitely creating angles with her body. She's moving her limbs away from her body, so that's going to make for a more flattering image. And then she's also, even though she's sitting down, she's also creating an S-curve with her body, so that's great. What I'll start with is the light of the photo. I know I've talked about this many times, but lighting is everything. And this is a really well lit photo. The light looks very soft, which is great. The way I'm able to tell that is you can tell that there's really no harsh shadows on her. It's very, very soft light. And normally you'd be able to see the shadow, a harsh shadow around her nose, but you cannot see that because it looks like it was taken on an overcast day, which is great. Anyway, so I'll start with the light. I tend to go for a little bit more moodier photos, so like darker photos, so I'll bring down the exposure just a little bit. And I'll bring down the highlights as well because I want to capture all that detail, especially in the flowers in her headband. I will also bring down the contrast to kind of make the image flat because I'm going to add that in later with a curves adjustment, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll boost up the shadows just a little bit, get some of that detail back from her hair, bring down the lights, and then yeah, so the next part is going to the curves. I'm going to put 3 points on the curve, and I do this for literally all of my photos. So what I'll do right now, I just told you I was going to re-add that contrast back in. This is where I'll do it. I'll bring down this bottom point. That's going to be the contrast. And don't worry about getting it perfect because you can, I can go back to the light tab and readjust it. I like to bring this down. It kind of crushes the highlights a little bit. And then I like to bring this up as well because it'll crush the blacks as well. And sometimes I bring that up. Let's leave it right there. All right, let's see. So I like that. I need some more detail in her hair, so I'll bring up the shadows a little more. Great, looking great, looking great. So I brought the shadows up pretty high because I wanted to, in the hair, I was losing some of the detail. And one thing that's really cool when you're editing, you can just hold the image, and then when you do that, it'll show you the before. So this is before, and this is with the edits so far. Before with the edits. All right, now getting on to color, which I really love. Let's see. It depends. Sometimes a photo would warrant maybe cooler colors, so in the blues, or sometimes it'll be more warm colors. Just play around with it, see what mood you want to create with it. I could create a colder look, and I could go more in the blues, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go with warmer. So we'll go ahead and boost that up. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to bring down the tint as well because it's looking a little too purpley. And then I'm going to bring the saturation down. And then boost the vibrance. All right, and see that's a little too warm, so I'm gonna bring that back down. Actually, I'm gonna leave it right there for right now. Split toning, so you can add even more colors with these two. So you can add some colors in the highlights and you can add some colors in the shadows as well. And I like to play with this too, especially when so as you can tell, the image looks really warm. It looks kind of yellowy. So I will go and add some blues into the highlights just to give it, I keep saying warm and cold, but just to give it some coldness. Yeah, I think I like that actually. Let it down, and then you can get some sharpening up in here. There's that. The other thing, you can go into this little mix tab for colors, and this is where you can play around with just taking some colors away that maybe you don't really want. It is kind of yellow and her dress is kind of yellow, so I'm gonna take that down, and if you could see that, so if I turn this up, you can see where all the yellow is and what this will affect, and if you bring it down, then you can see that it's taking away all those yellows. Sometimes I do this for the blues too, but you want to be careful because it might look unnatural. And reds, boost that up a little bit. She has some red, some rosy cheeks, so I like that. We'll bring that up as well. Be careful though, because this does, it affects all of the reds in the image, so it's also affecting her lips. And perfect. So this is the before and this is the after. Before and after. I really like this. And then I'm only doing this because it was a request from Emily. You can also, there's a healing brush tool. If you didn't want something in there, you could just easily take that out, and it's going to sample another part where it thinks it's similar to that texture, and then it's going to replace it. And if you like it, then you're good. If you don't, you can drag it somewhere else, see how it's. So that was actually pretty good where it was, so I think I'll keep it right there. Perfect. So see, the little patch of skin is gone, and we're good. This would probably be the final image. So yeah, as I said before, just keep playing around with it. That's really all you can do. Get a style that you really like, because at the end of the day, these are your photos, this is your art, and so you've got to make sure that you're excited about it. Moving on. So this is a photo of Scotty. Thank you so much, Scotty, for sending this in. I really appreciate it. She was applying the tips, and you can tell that she does have an S-curve with her body. Even though you can't see the legs, you can still tell that there's some angles being made. So that's great, love that. Like I just edited Emily's photo, I'm gonna go and edit the same way. I'm gonna start with the light and then kind of work my way down all the little editing tools. So I'm gonna start with exposure, maybe bring it down a little bit, highlights, bring up the shadows because I wanna get some of the detail on the tree. I don't wanna lose all of that. All right, let me bring the contrast down. And then again, putting my points on the curve map. Bring this down as well. And honestly guys, this is just how I edit. You figure out what kind of edits you like. If you don't like crushing your highlights or crushing your blacks, then don't do it, you know? I'm just showing you how I would edit a photo. Like that. All right, and then I'm gonna go into the color mixer and I'm going to start playing around with this. There's some red on her face, so I'm gonna take that out just a little bit. Bring the orange up or down? Bring it up. Yellows. Okay, so with the yellows, I mean, she has yellow in her headscarf, so definitely don't want to take that too much because then it's going to look weird. I like that headscarf is yellow, so I'm going to just take that down just a little bit. You can also play with the brightness of it, kind of like that. It gives it a little more dimension. The greens. So I can either take this up or I can take it down. So I'm going to take that You can also play with the color. So like, if I didn't like this green, I would probably take it down to kind of match the overall tone of the image. Some of the colors I don't really mess with because it's not that big of an issue. Kind of like that blue like that, maybe a little bit light, so she pops. There's a little undo button up at the top. Just click that and you can undo anything that you accidentally did, like I just did. And then what I would do maybe to make her stand out a little more is I would use this little gradient filter, and you can play around with this or fine tune it if you'd like. Brighten her up just a little bit maybe. There we go. And we got the before, after. Still a little blue. I didn't mess with the split toning, which I think I'll do right now. And there we go. I think I like this photo like this. So here's the before, and here's the after. Again, before and after. The next photo is of another Emily. Thank you so much for sending this in. I appreciate it. She is a rock climber. If you could tell by you could see she has some gear right there. She got her boots on and she's, at a rock, probably climbing it. Even this pose is really great because she's also, you can see she's creating angles with her body as well. It's not just a straight on shot. So let's get to editing. The first thing I would do is I think it's a little too much of the bottom rock for my liking. So what I would do is I think I might take this and crop it just a little bit to get it. One thing that I would also do if I know that I'm posting this to Instagram, I can either crop it as a square, or I could crop it as the vertical image, and that is a 4x5. So I would see what I would like. Actually, yeah, I kind of like a square. Let's do a square. With some headroom. Perfect. All right, let's get to editing. Let's bring some colors down, some contrast. Let's make it flat. Bring some shadows up to get some of that detail back. Perfect. And we are gonna go add those 3 points. So she's outdoors, so I think I might do a little a warm image instead of a cooler image. Like what this magenta is doing. We have that. Cool. And I'm gonna go to the mix. Play around with this. Bring it down some more maybe. There's some blue like in her pants. I don't know if she's actually wearing like navy pants or not, but I might take that out because I think it just will add to the image. Yellows, I might take that down just a little bit too. I kind of like the way it is right now, so I don't think I'm gonna add any split toning to this. So the next thing I'm gonna do is go to detail, maybe add some more detail back in. Turn the radius up just a bit. I want this to pop a little more, so I'm gonna add some contrast back in. I think I might take the texture down just a little bit. And yeah, I think that's it. I think this is an image that I would actually post on my Instagram. So there's the before, here's an after, before, and after. The next photo was sent in by Sarah. Hashtag shout out to my sister. Let's go through the editing process and starting with the light, as I did it online. So this one actually looks pretty dark already, so I think I might brighten it up just a little bit. Let's bring down the contrast because I'm gonna add that in later. Bring down the highlights. Boost up the shadows just a little bit for right now. All right. So as you can see, like it's a pretty flat image. It's before and after. Go add my 3 points on that curve. All right, now onto the color. Let's make this a warm image. It was kind of a cool image, just a cooler image to start with, so I want to make it a little warm. So she's wearing blue, so that looks unnatural, so I think if I wanted to take it away just a little bit, I would bring it down. I like to bring it up, the luminance up, because it'll make her stand out in the frame more. Bring that blue up again. Perfect. Let's see if I want to add some split toning to this. And then her face is a little dark still, so what I would do, a quick fix, is just get this radial, this little radial gradient effect, and put it over her face and hit the light button, and let's bring up the exposure just a little bit. You should bring it up to extreme and see what it would do, but yeah, so I just want to make it look natural. Which is probably like right there. I could also bring up the shadows too, because there are some shadows. See, like right now, I think that's a little too much. So I'm gonna bring that exposure down just a little, probably right there. There. And then what I would also, you could also do with this, you can add as many of these little radial filters as you want. So what's in red is going to be what is affected. So you could even, change the color of just that area if you wanted to, or, and so yeah, it's in that red, and where is it? But what I want to do is, instead of her being affected, I actually want the background to be affected. So I'm gonna hit this little button right here, and now it's gonna invert what I just selected. So now everything but the middle of the circle is going to be affected. So you could use this to bring, to make your photo brighter or to make it darker. It looks a little, I feel like it looks a little weird if it's too dark, so I might bring it up just a little bit. Perfect. I think I'm done. So there's the before, and here's the after. Also, really great job on this photo. Again, the limbs are away from the body, and there are multiple angles being created with the arms and the legs. Great, great pose. Love it. This next photo is from Ariana. Absolutely love this photo. The pose is so great. She's creating angles with her body. The limbs are away from the body, and it's just an all-around interesting pose, interesting background as well. This is great. So for starters, this photo is great how it is, but again, if you want to crop it, you can crop it. I might crop it just because I like, I would want the focus to be a little bit of the background, and then me, if I was the one in the photo. I think I would like this if it was kind of like this, cropped like this. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and hit this 5x4. And then I'm gonna hit this button right here so it changes the orientation from landscape to portrait. And I will probably put myself right in the center right there. It's perfect. Actually, wait, hold on. Just a little bit. Here we go. All right. So go ahead, start with the exposure. Cool, and then now I'm gonna work on the coloring. So I'm gonna do a warmer color. Let me bring in some magentas in this photo as well, not too much. Be careful with the saturation, the orange saturation, because if you bring it down too far, you can start looking like you're dead. But if you bring it too high, then you're gonna get really orange skin tones. So I think I might like it like right there. Cool. Some more kind of yellows. So again, you can I like to bring the colors all the way up to see if it's affecting anything, which this is. You can see there's yellow in the trees and there's yellow in the water as well. So I might bring that down to right there. And I think I might bring the luminance down as well. The green, I'm gonna bring that down. I'm gonna bring the luminance down because since there's a bunch of green behind her, bringing the luminance down is going to make her pop even more. And again, you can play with the colors of the trees really, but I like to keep it a little more natural, so I'm gonna leave it where it was. And I don't know if there's any blues, barely. There's some coloring up here, so if you can see that changing, I'm just gonna bring that down. I think I want that color because it's not necessary. Perfect. I'm gonna go back to my light tab because I want there to be more of a pop. In the image, it still looks a little flat, so I'm gonna bring the contrast back up a little bit. And then I think I might even play around with the black slider. So if I go this way, it's gonna bring it darker. If I go this way, it'll get it lighter. So I'm gonna bring that down, boost the shadows up just a little bit more because I don't wanna lose all the shadow in her hair. And all right, I'm gonna get some sharpening up in here. Perfect. And let's see if I want to add any split toning to this. Add a tiny bit of blue to it. Perfect. And then absolutely loving this image. I think it looks great. I would still want focus on the subject. And then I think I'm gonna go ahead and add this just to make her pop a little bit more, maybe increase there, and then I'm gonna add another one around her, not too big. I'm gonna invert it, and again, you can either go for a lighter image or you can go for a little bit darker. I'm gonna go for a tad bit darker. I think that's gonna be the final image for me. So here's the before, and here's the after. Before and after. All right, guys, that was it for today's video. I know it was a lengthy one, but I wanted to show you each individual process for just any kind of editing that you can do on your photos. I didn't want to short anybody that, kind of experience. But yeah, the Lightroom app is super great. I would definitely recommend to just play around with it and find a style that you like, because again, this is your art, so you want to make sure that the photos that you're posting out there are photos that you're proud of. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I am going to continue to bring more photography tips to you, as well as editing videos. So the next time I am going to edit your photos, I will make a post about it on my Instagram. You can follow me at PhilAdcoPhoto. That's where I post all my updates, and as well as any sneak peeks for upcoming videos. And I can also get any photos that you send in as well. This video is so choppy because I did not have a plan for what I was gonna say, and we know how that goes. Why do I do this to myself? I'm so excited. Why do I always say that? I'm so excited. Of course I'm excited for my content. Which is free in the Google. I need some Jesus. It's like I'm a newscaster. I'm gonna put something right here, a graphic maybe.